This is Netrunner 17.01, the second release of this distribution, which features the KDE Plasma 5 desktop running on Debian rather than Ubuntu. The Ubuntu version has been renamed Maui Linux, and this version is based on Debian Stretch, which is the current testing version of Debian, which will eventually become Debian 9, the stable version. One thing I should mention right away is that I had difficulty with my touchpad during installation, and this is a known bug. I found the solution on the Netrunner forums, and it's also right here in the README file. Here it says, if you experience your touchpad is not working properly, please install the Synaptics package sudo install xserver-xorg-input-synaptics. Now, I did that, and it worked after I restarted. Of course, this is a rather difficult thing to do during installation when you don't have a persistent version running. So I managed to struggle through installation with my touchpad acting very erratically using that and the keyboard. And once I had the system installed, I installed this package, restarted, and the touchpad now works perfectly. In my opinion, Netrunner has always been a little better themed than the average out-of-the-box Plasma 5, and this is no exception. It uses the menu that I like, even though there are other menus available. This comes with a lot of games. I'm not interested. Comes with GIMP already installed, and remember that's a GTK application, not a Qt5 application. Comes with Firefox, which is normally not available in Debian, although that's changing. Comes with Skype. It has Kdenlive included, and the Pulse Audio Volume Control included, VLC included, and it has Voco Screen included, which is a screen recorder, but I was able to install Simple Screen Recorder using the Synaptic Package Manager, which is also included. It has LibreOffice. As I said, the Synaptic Package Manager. When I look for Discover, which is the Plasma 5 Graphic Package Manager, I don't find it. I think that Netrunner is one of the many, including me, who have found that Discover is not yet ready for prime time. So when you look for software, the only package manager available is Synaptic. But that's the one I normally prefer. It may be a little difficult for new users who like to look at pictures of things, but if you know what you're looking for, this is a good way of finding it. If you want to use a different desktop background, you can. There are lots of pretty ones here. This one looks intriguing. And if you want to get rid of these little icons, I suggest changing from folder view to desktop view, and it'll get rid of them automatically. They're gone. Under System Settings, we have the usual extensive selection from KDE Plasma. Under Desktop Appearance, you have to double-click. You can see that you have 5 desktop appearances here. This is Netrunner, and there's Netrunner Blue X, Netrunner Black X, Breeze Dark, and Breeze. Under Widget Style, you can also select Breeze, Carbon, Fusion, MS Windows 9X, there is no 9X, Oxygen, and Qt Curve. I'm not going to go through all these now. Under Window Decorations, it gives you 3 types now. Oxygen, Breeze, which is the one that's active, and Plastic. To change, you have to click on Apply. And you can see that the top changed a bit, not extensively. Oxygen. Applied. I think I'll leave it on Breeze. Under Desktop Theme, it seems to be on Black X. Well, the color of the menu changes. I suppose if I had more widgets, they would change also. Anyway, I like this one. I'm going to leave it on Black X. There's cursor themes, there's color selection. Allows you to change the colors used in applications. See quite a bit of difference there, and at least it gives you an example so you can see what you're doing. And the default was Carbon. So you can see there's quite a selection as usual. The Plasma desktop offers more ways of configuring than any other to my knowledge. A very close second would be XFCE. And with icons, I'm going to do apply, although I didn't change anything. With icons, you can see the difference. And again, there are samples up here, so you can actually see what you're doing. Breeze is the default, breeze dark, doesn't change the icons. GNOME and Oxygen should be familiar. I'm going to leave it on breeze. Adwaita, that's fairly common. I'm going to leave it on breeze. And for GTK applications, here I'm going to apply. You have a series of themes also: breeze, breeze dark, carbon, GTK, clear looks, crux, industrial. I'm not going to worry about that right now, but the fact is that you have a choice. Desktop is just as configurable as KDE has been in the past. You can move it around. And you can change the height. This height is fine with me for now. Another way of getting that, of course, is just by clicking on these lines on the side. And again, the menu is configurable. Right-click on the lower left and then go to Alternatives. And what you have now is the application menu, which is the one I prefer. There's the application dashboard. The application launcher, which is the traditional KDE menu, which I've never liked. There's the application menu, which I showed you. And there's the symbol menu, which is somewhat unique. It isn't available in all versions of the Plasma 5 desktop. And that is sort of semi-graphical. It's a little more compact. If I were going to use a more graphical version, this is the one I would prefer. But I like the application menu. Now if we take a look at the Info Center, this is Plasma version 5.8.2. KDE Apps version 16.08.2, Frameworks version 5.27.0, Qt version 5.7, kernel version 4.8.0-1. Gives you the specs of my hardware. Now if we take a look at KSysGuard, you can see that my processor, which is 4 cores, is fairly busy, but remember I'm running Simple Screen Recorder, which explains a lot of that activity. I'm still not using any swap, and I'm using 0.73 gigabytes of my 3.8 gigabytes of memory. So it's about medium. It's not on the low side, but it's not extremely high either. And again, I'm running Simple Screen Recorder. Now I'm going to take a look at the software sources by going into Synaptic Package Manager. Looking at Settings Repositories. Now you notice these are all in Central Europe. This comes from Bielefeld, Germany, Clemens Tinney's company, Blue Systems. I'm not sure if there are any closer repositories. I can look into that later. Right, these are repositories. The ones that are checked are Netrunner 17.01 main, the Netrunner 17.01 main extras, Calamares, several other Netrunner 17.01 repositories. And the particular repositories for the KDE framework and the Plasma desktop. Now there's also the option of adding these, which are the stretch backports for all of these repositories. I don't have those checked, but you can check those and get a little more up-to-date software. You may find certain risks involved in that also. Now I happen to have a wired connection, but I'm going to unplug it now. Let's see if I can connect to the internet through my wireless network. And it says connection activated. So that works. Without taking up your time to do this, I've set up 4 different workspaces. I've opened programs on each workspace. I've enabled the desktop cube animation, and this gives you an idea of what you can do in that regard. I go over to the left side and I have the desktop cube. Desktop 2, desktop 3, I have LibreOffice Calc open. Desktop 4, this is my YouTube channel. This is desktop 1. So when you get to where you want to go, you can go to the left again, and that makes that the current desktop. I also had configured to show the desktop. In other words, it minimizes all open windows on that desktop. When I go back into the desktop cube, you notice the applications are shown in transparency in the background. That indicates that Show Desktop is active on all 4 workspaces. So when I change that, all these applications appear again. This is LibreOffice Calc, so if I minimize this, it's minimized on that quadrant only. The others aren't minimized. It's just a gimmick, but if you want to see how I did it, I'll show you here. First, I'll get rid of this. Into System Settings. Workspace Behavior. Virtual desktops. I've shown 4 desktops. So I've enabled desktop cube animation here. Under desktop effects, it's also shown here. You could enable it here also. And then I've activated the desktop cube. Under screen edges on this one, I've got desktop cube. So that means whenever I go over to that edge, I get the desktop cube. And on the right side, I've activated Show Desktop, which minimizes all open windows. So that's just one of the many gimmicks that you can get with Plasma 5. It would literally take hours to go through all of the different ways you can configure this desktop. It just has an astronomical number of options. If you look at some of my other videos on Plasma 5, you can see some of the other things that can be done. But this is just a brief overview of Netrunner 17.1. This is XRAM Tech. Thanks for watching.